At Wano, the Akazaya 9 felt a strong figure approaching the flower capital and asked everyone to gather, and asked that this was not known by Luffy. On the other hand, as Ryakujiu continued walking towards the flower capital, he said that even if you want it, what is called power is power that is difficult to obtain. But he was stopped by Denjiro, Inuarashi, Nakomamushi, Shinobu, Reizo, and Kawamatsu, and everything was demanded by Ryakujiu to step aside. Reizo and Denjiro conclude that Ryakujiu is a marine, and therefore he is Luffy's enemy in the outside world. But Ryakujiu said, the celestial dragon is the god of this world. Well, the citizens of Wano, who do not join the world government, do not have any rights as human beings. Then he attacks everyone with his devil fruit powers, because he has consumed a Logia-type Mori Mori no Mi. And thus he is a man of the forest who is one with nature. When attacking Ryakujiu using forest root and plant-based attacks. Then Ryakujiu tells the samurai that mankind has only progressed so far because they upheld the hierarchy, and non-affiliated countries must be put in place to maintain peace, because according to him, prejudice breeds stability, discrimination breeds peace. As the 6 of them try to defend themselves, Ryakujiu announces that he will kill as many Wano citizens as possible to catch Luffy, because killing a non-affiliated person is not a crime in his dictionary, even though Ryakujiu has turned into a forest monster, but the samurai can still match him. Yamato then suddenly appears on the scene, and angrily slammed Ryakujiu's head on the ground with his kanabin, and in an instant Ryakujiu recovered, and Yamato tells him that he won't let Ryakujiu ruin the freedom of the Wano people, which was only discovered after 20 years. Ryakujiu then just asked who he was, and Yamato introduced himself as Kaido's son, to which Momonosuke then arrives in his dragon form and compliments Yamato on his words. Then Momo tries to attack Ryakujiu by imitating Belobbered Kaido. But nothing happened, only a small burst of fire appeared. But even so, Momonosuke didn't stop and ran to Ryakujiu, then took a bite demanding the admiral to leave, so that he can protect Wano from people like Ryakujiu in the future. Then seeing Ryakujiu issued another moment by wrapping his roots around Momonosuke to catch him. Yamato then tries to help, but Momo asks him not to interfere in the fight. Meanwhile, in the ocean round Wano, the Akagami pirates are waiting outside. Some of Shanks' crew told him that they should go and meet Luffy, because now Luffy has become a great pirate. But Shanks seemed too busy reminiscing about the last time he saw Kozuki Oden and his children. When he saw Luffy's new wanted poster, he reminisces when he and his crew stormed the world government ship that was carrying the Gamu Gamu no Mi. And after that he spent time in Luffy's village, until he lost his left arm, for trying to save Luffy from a sea monster. After Shanks finished reminiscing, he told his crew that he would not meet Luffy at Wano and surprise everyone. He reminds them that Bartolomeo made a mess recently in one of their territories by burning its flag, and replaced it with Luffy's, and he wanted to handle the situation. He asked Ben Beckman, "Beck, I think it's time for us to take One Piece." Meanwhile, at Marine headquarters in the New World, Fleet Admiral Sakazuki is informed that the world government cannot allow the Revolutionary Army to do as it pleases. And while Sakazuki knew this, there were no Marines left to deploy. The person he spoke to is also the head of the Marine Criminal Affairs Unit. Chroma, his real name is Tensei, tells him that Sabo has become a legend because he turns out to kill Nefertari Cobra King of Arabasta, and one of the descendants of 20 founders from 800 years ago, which he thought was a great advantage for the Revolutionary Army, Besides that, before Cobra was killed, he attacked Mary Joyce and destroyed the symbol of world nobility, which is practically a declaration of war, despite Fujitora and Ryakuju's best efforts. Sabo and other leaders of the Revolutionary Army were able to save Bartolomeo Kumar and escape. Kuroma said that the two admirals might not be allowed to fight it out in the Holy Land, but Sakazuki demands that he not make excuses for them. Here it is also revealed that Cobra Princess Nevertari Vivi also disappeared, and he's still investigating how Cobra's death and Vivi's disappearance are connected, while Kizaru, who is also present, asks if they can close the case of attempted murder of St. Carlos. Kuroma then says that St. Miasgard escaped the attackers in the Holy Land. Then the Holy Knight must mediate and investigate the complicated conflict. But Sakazuki told him to let them take over and did it. Kuroma said that most of these incidents were related to Sabo, making it a fire of rebellion that spread throughout the world, and that the 8 rebel kingdoms were inspired to stage a coup while their king was away. Now, people call Sabo as the god or emperor of fire, and his influence is said to be greater than that of the monkey D-Dragon himself. Izaro also points out that above all else, his younger brother is now one of the Furunko of the sea. Of course, one revolutionary who raised an army claimed that Sabo's influence could be felt even in the pirate world, because his younger brother had just destroyed the old world order, and now times are changing. Sakazuki looks at the ocean and says, apparently the first became the great admiral of the troubled age. Even so, I will annihilate anyone who dares to oppose me. Momonosuke once again tells Yamato not to interfere with his fight with Ryakuju. Yamato asked why, but Momonosuke was knocked to the ground by Ryakuju. Seeing that Momo was cornered, Reizo then used Ninpo Maki Maki no Jutsu Kaden to set fire to Ryakuju, who acts like it hurts before dropping his charade and revealing that he is capable of casting a technique that makes him impervious to fire. Ryakuju, who was angry, then stabbed Reizo's chest with its root and started to drain his energy. This makes the samurai angry and do their best to help Reizo, so that Denjiro, Kawamatsu and Nekomamushi were also entangled in those roots. Meanwhile, the interior of the castle is downstairs. Kozuki Sukiyaki's secret room shows him with Nico Robin. Then Trafalgar Law joined, using his room. The 3 of them then walked further underground, from the secret Sukiyaki room. When the former shogun admitted that Kaido and Orochi could still find the road poneglyph underground because of Jack. Yes, because Jack, he is a fishman. Robin asks what does he mean, and the Sukiyaki explained that they would understand soon enough. Law then asked how far it was, and Sukiyaki said, if the distance is until we arrived at several hundreds of years ago. Just as the 2 of them saw a faint light coming from the glass window, the 2 then looked into it and were shocked by what they saw. If the whole city was underwater, Sukiyaki explained that what they saw was Wano, in particular from 800 years ago. Although he didn't know how things got like that, Robin said that the city looked well preserved, as if the water is not sea water, and Sukiyaki said from his theory long ago Wano was much bigger and is at sea level on land around the foot of Mount Fuji. But at some point, a wall was erected around him, which closes the island and prevents rainwater from escaping, which caused the old city to be buried. The land at the top of the mountain was reserved for settlers, and finally became Wano, who is today. The 3 finally arrive at their destination and find a road poneglyph, marking it as the 3rd path that Mujiwara pirates need. Sukiyaki later said that if one traveled deeper, they would find the ancient weapon Pluton, Outside the flower capital, Ryakuju tells the samurai that it is indeed sad. But Kaido's government is what makes this country have the strength to repel enemy attacks from outside. He once again demanded that Luffy be brought before him and promises to leave after he kills her. Yamato then asked Momonosuke to summon Luffy and the others to defeat Ryakuju. But Momo refuses to involve them. Momo also tells Yamato that she doesn't want to taint Yamato's departure after being imprisoned for so long, and after relying on the Straw Hat for so long. He needs to prove that Momo and his followers can take care of themselves once they're gone, where Momo keeps asking Ryakuju to leave, and finally manages to materialize Kaido's Belabard, which really damages Ryakuju's body. The samurai and Yamato react in amazement at Momonosuke's accomplishments as the Ryakuju tree form burns to ash. Ryakuju is able to regenerate from his sapling and regain its tree form, where he announces he will kill her if she continues to get in his way. However, Ryakuju felt a very strong Hyoshoku Haki blast coming from Shanks, which caused him to return to his normal form. He reacts with surprise that the Akagami pirates are nearby, because Shanks himself said that he thought going after the new generation of pirates when they were exhausted seemed like an act of cowardice, and Shanks asked firmly, "Are you that afraid of the coming of a new age?" Shanks' presence convinces Ryakuju to abandon his mission. Yamato as well as the samurai celebrate their victory. Meanwhile, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji and Jinbei were sitting on the hillside and watching the fight, and said that their samurai friends were truly extraordinary and strong.